Hello, my dear students. How are you? I hope you are all well and fine, and I hope you are enjoying your quarantine days. So, today is our first class after quarantine. So, I have given you the topic that we will study today, that is A Wrinkle in Time. We have already finished this novel, and today we are going to overview the plot summary of this novel. So at first, the writer name is Madeline Allengel, and the novel was published in 1962, and there are some major characters in this novel. First of all, he is Meg Murray, then Charles Wallace, Calvin O'Keefe, her father Max, and Charles' father Mr. Murray, Mrs. Watsit, Mrs. Who, Mrs. Witch, and Max's mother. The genre of the novel the genre of the story is a novel, and it's a young adult novel. Basically, A Wrinkle in Time is the story of Meg Murray, who is a high school aged girl and who is transported on an adventure through time and space with her younger brother Charles Wallace. And they have a friend, and the name of the friend is Calvin O'Keefe. Actually, Calvin is Meg Murray's friend. So Calvin helped these two siblings to rescue her father, Mr. Murray, who is a scientist, and they try to save their father from the evil forces that hold him prisoner on another planet. Yes, in this novel, we had already learned there are more than 3 or 4 planets. Number 1 planet is Uriel, and then Camazotz, then Eggshell, then Earth, then Happy Medium, and the evil force is portrayed as the Black Thing. The writer Madeline has portrayed the evil force in this novel as a black thing, a black shadow. At the beginning of the book, we come to know that Meg is a homely, awkward but loving girl, troubled by personal insecurities. She was insecure at school, though she was very good at math, and her concern for her father. She loves her father very dearly. Her father has been missing for over a year. He was a scientist, and he was researching something, and it was over a year that he was missing. So at first the plot begins with the arrival of 3 celestial creatures, and they are Mrs. Watsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Witch. In the beginning of the chapters, we see Mrs. Watsit at the Murray's house on a dark and stormy evening. Although she looks like an eccentric lady, she is actually a celestial creature. All of us already we know these 3 celestial ladies with the ability to read Meg's thoughts. They have a power who can they can read people's mind, or they can easily know what people are thinking inside their mind or planning something. So these are their power. So Mrs. Watsit, she startles that Meg's mother by reassuring her of the existence of a tesseract, a sort of wrinkle in space and time. The tesseract is the most important thing in this novel. It's actually a wrinkle. Through this wrinkle, they travel from one planet to another planet, like in 1 second, and in space and time. It is through this wrinkle that Meg and her companions will travel through the 5th dimension in search of Mr. Murray. These 3 children had taken a very daring adventure. They decided to rescue their father through Tesseract and travel through from planet to planet. and these three celestial ladies would gonna help them. So on the afternoon following Mrs. Watts's visit, Meg and Charles Wallace walk over to Mrs. Watts's cabin. On the way, they meet Calvin O'Keefe, a popular boy in Meg's school, whom Charles considers like a spirit, kind spirit. Calvin is the classmate of Meg Murray, and he always thought that Meg is a very average kind of student, though he doesn't know that Meg was really very good at math. So that these three children learn from Mrs. Watson and her friends Mrs. Who and Mrs. Witch that the universe is threatened by a great evil called the dark thing or the black thing. It's a really very big shadow and taking the form of a giant cloud, engulfing the stars around it. Sorry. So next, the three these three celestial ladies transport the children to Camazotz and instruct them to remain always in each other's company. While on their quest for Mrs. Murray, they are searching for Mrs. Murray in every planet, and the evil force that is the most obstacle in their way, that is a black thing. So on Camazotz, there is another planet. So in this planet, like all objects and places appear exactly alike because the whole planet must conform to the terrifying rhythmic of IT. IT is actually a giant disembodied brain. Charles Wallace tries to fight IT with his exceptional intelligence, but he is overpowered by the evil, and finally he becomes like a robot and creature mouthing the words with which IT infuses. He was hypnotized by IT totally. He can't defeat IT with his exceptional intelligence. IT took the full control of Charles, and under the control of IT, Charles leaks Meg and Calvin to Mr. Murray, and together they confront IT. So, however, they are unable to withstand IT's power, and they finally escape only at the last minute. When Mr. Murray appears and seizes Meg and Calvin tearing away with them, traveling by another tesseract to a grey planet that is called Ixchel, inhabited by all tall furry beasts who care for the travelers. That is the last planet that we learn from this story, and that its name is Ixchel. In this planet, the inhabitants are like tall furry beasts. They are like beasts, but they are very caring. They care for the travelers from the other planets. Charles Wallace remains possessed by IT, a prisoner of Camazotz. Charles Wallace was possessed in Camazotz, and he becomes a prisoner in Camazotz. So in this planet, the last planet they visit, Ixchel, the three Mrs. Watson, Mrs. Who, Mrs. Witch appear once again, and Meg realizes that she must travel alone back to Camazotz to rescue her brother. Charles was at Camazotz, and the rest of them have traveled to Ixchel through Tesseract by the help of these three celestial ladies. So but Meg was injured in Ixchel, and with the help of Aunt Beast, she recovered. And after her recovering, she determined that she will rescue her brother and she will travel back to Camazotz. So she tells about this to Mrs. Witch, and Mrs. Witch tells her that she has one thing that IT does not have. She has one hidden power that I does not have. And listening to this statement, Meg was totally mesmerized. What does she have that IT doesn't? So after some moment, Mrs. Witch reveals that this will be her weapon against the evil. At IT is a very evil force, so Mrs. Witch tells her that to use this power against the evil and defeat the evil. So, however, Meg must discover this weapon for herself. Mrs. Witch will not gonna tell her that what the weapon she have and what the weapon she has inside her mind or something. She must discover this weapon by herself. So when standing in the presence of IT, Meg realizes what this is, her ability to love. Thus, by concentrating on her love for Charles Wallace, she is able to restore him to his true identity. She loves her brother very dearly, and she concentrates and she started thinking what is the power that she has, and finally within a moment she found it out that it was the love for her brother, and concentrating on her love for her brother, she was finally able to restore him to his true identity, as Charles was hypnotized and he lost control of everything, but with the help of her sister's love, finally he restored himself in his true identity. So Mac realizes Charles from IT's clutches. She rescued her brother from this evil force and again tesseract with him through time and space, and landing in her twin brother's vegetable garden on Earth. And finally they land on Earth where their twin brothers waited for them, and these twins had a vegetable garden where her father and Calvin stand waiting. She has already rescued her father from the clutches of IT, and Calvin was with him, but she again traveled back to Camazores to rescue her brother Charles, and her father and Calvin was waiting for them in the garden. And finally, at the end of the novel, we see that it's a happy ending. The family happily reunites, and then Mrs. Who and Mrs. Wish visit the happy scene, and then they further travels to another planet. So this is the ending and overview plot summary of this story. So I'm gonna give you two questions, and that is what is the main message of A Wrinkle in Time? The predominant concepts in A Wrinkle in Time include the power of love and the value of individuality. The primary conflict you can target it as a problem or clash. And conflict, sometimes it may refer to problem and sometimes it may refer to clash. You have to assume it. So the main conflict in this novel is between ideas or characters is the contest between good and evil. Mac possesses the good qualities and the evil force is portrayed in this novel as IT, who already absorbs all the controls of everything and hypnotized everything. And finally people forget their true identity and speaks the words of IT. That is IT's main target. So number 2 question is, what is the moral lesson of A Wrinkle in Time? Even if you are kind to someone and you don't receive any kindness in return, we should always be kind to people and we shouldn't expect any kind in return. So continue to be nice to people because it's the right thing to do. So we should be nice to people, to everyone. So in this story, A Wrinkle in Time shows people that it only takes a little bit of kindness to erase years of hurt and hatred. Through the love and kindness of Meg Murray. She rescued her father, her brother, through the clutches of IT, and IT doesn't possess any kindness in his mind. So that is the most powerful weapon that Meg Murray has. So these are two important questions from this story, the main message and moral lesson. So you will learn it and memorize these two questions. I will give you 5 question answer to write, and they are like number 1, these are RW exercises. So number 1 is write 3 lessons that you will learn from A Wrinkle in Time. You will just write 3 lessons that you will learn from A Wrinkle in Time. Sorry, there is a writing mistake. It should be lessons. Okay, let's correct it. Okay, next, number B is who is the mind of Camazotz. Who is the mind of Camazotz? In the center, mind of Camazotz. Then number C, write the name of one character that who you like most in A Wrinkle in Time. Write one name of character and the reason why you like him or her in this novel. So number D next is what is the black thing in A Wrinkle in Time. You will describe it in full sentences that what is the black thing, why it is so significant in this novel. And next, our last question is why do you think Meg Murray chose the name Aunt Beast? Aunt Beast lives in eggshell, and this lady helped Meg to from her hypnotized situation to being normal. So why she chose the name Aunt Beast? You will submit these questions and answers within 20 minutes after the video ends, and submit your answers through the comment box and let me know. So this is our FRW class, Wrinkle in Time. Your next class topics will be posted in this group. So till then, be safe and goodbye.